Okay, Jessica, I know you've asked me about something that you can do nutritionally that will really help you. The premise and the basis for this technique, this sugar control diet, actually is another part of the total body modification technique that I use. And the whole premise behind it is that we're going to reset your sugar and your carbohydrate handling mechanism. By doing that for a couple, 3 weeks, you have to remember this isn't for the rest of your life, this is just for a couple, 3 weeks. What we're going to do is we're going to take out all of those things that you know as carbohydrates, sugars, white things, okay? Those are the things that have really high glycemic indexes and that break down very quickly to sugars.
Okay.
So by doing the removal of those things and making sure that you eat something every couple of hours, okay? What we're going to do is we're going to create a level blood sugar in your body. That's going to give your pancreas and your liver an opportunity to kind of rest for a little while.
Okay.
The body heals from a place of parasympathetic rest and digest. I think we talked about that maybe in your consultation. And it stays sick in a state of fight or flight or sympathetic overdrive. So in doing this, this will help get some extra energy created for you to finish your healing process and go into whatever you want to do, as well as just make you overall more stable, another avenue to help you hold your adjustments better. This is kind of back to basic cave person food, okay? When God put us here, He didn't put a Whataburger and a Grandy's and a Taco Bell across the road from our cave, okay? He gave us nuts and fruits and berries, and if we were really smart, we might snare a rabbit or catch a fish, but we had to kind of eat those things as we found them because we also didn't have a refrigerator in our cave. And so we went back to our cave early because when it got dark, the big animals came out and we didn't want to get eaten by the big animals. And we didn't have light in our cave, so we went to bed and we got a lengthy night's sleep during that time of the night when we're supposed to sleep when it's dark outside. And when the sun came up in the mornings and the big animals went away and we could see them if they were out there, then we came back out and we just repeated our process of this gathering and eating and gathering and eating. So we were kind of grazing clear through the day, and that's kind of what we're doing with the sugar control diet is we're going to eat something every couple of hours. You need to put something in your mouth pretty quickly after you get up. I recommend to people that, it doesn't have to be a lot. It can be a few bites of something, but the big thing is just to keep your body knowing that every couple hours while you're awake, you're going to be putting something in your mouth.
That makes sense.
Protein works really well, okay? If you don't have any problems with skin or your weight, you can have cheese on this diet and dairy products. However, if you have a weight issue that you're trying to work with, or if you have any kind of a skin issue or even allergies, milk has a tendency to be really mucus producing in the body, as do other dairy products, and cheese is actually, the process by which they make cheese is moldy.
Right.
So putting those kind of things in your body can have an adverse effect on some of those other conditions. One of the things you can also do is just think about what things are in their natural state. If you shop the outside perimeter of the grocery store versus going into the inside aisles where there's boxes and bags and cans of things, you're going to find most all of the items that you need on this actually right there on the outside perimeters of the store. There's a set of recipes here to the back, okay, and you can look at those. You can do some of them if you want to. If you find that you are missing your carbohydrates and your starches, there's a thing called roasted rice. Okay, and how you do that is just take some long grain brown rice, put it in a dry skillet, turn the stove on, stand there, don't go off and leave it because it'll also catch on fire very easily, and just shake it, and the kernels that are in there will get kind of a golden brown color, and at the end even a few little pops on the end of them, not big and fluffy like popcorn, but just a little bit where the kernels kind of exploded and looks white on the ends. At that point you can cool that, and then you can use it for stuffed green peppers. You can use it for making some sort of a casserole, such as the rice and some ground beef or chicken. You can put all kinds of vegetables in it, and then just keep that handy so that if you get hungry, that can be one of your 2-hour snacks. It's really filling. It really satisfies those cravings for things that you might be missing.
Okay.
People always want to know, can I have any bread? I take sandwiches to my work for lunch, or my kids want a sandwich if I'm working with a child. You can have 2 slices of sprouted grain bread per day. The best one that we've found is Ezekiel brand. Okay. So you just want to find it. It's usually back in the refrigerated section, close to wherever the natural foods are. If you're in actually a natural foods or a health food store,
right,
it'll be really easy to spot. If you're in one of the major chains, you may have to go looking for their natural food section, but generally the sprouted grain bread will be in there. Now they also have other forms of it like raisin bread and some other things, but you don't want those at this point. You just want the sprouted grain bread. Okay. One of the things that says on there is that you can have rice bread. To my taste buds, rice bread tastes a little bit like cardboard, so I would suggest that you might want to try the Ezekiel bread instead. Okay. And again, if you have any questions at all, call our office. Everybody here at the office understands and knows about this sugar control diet. After you've done it the first time, it's always a good idea, maybe once a year, to go back on it for a couple of weeks. The other thing that will affect your sugar mechanism is that if you eat the wrong foods at the wrong time, meaning if you're emotionally depressed or have some big anxiety or stressor going on, you shouldn't vary very far off of this regime. Okay. On those days when you have a lot of stress, even after you're off of it, you'll do much better if you can stay within most of these guidelines. That's not the night because you feel really badly that you want to go to Dairy Queen and order a triple banana split with all of the kinds of different syrups and things on it, okay? So, and we go through a little test process that we can actually tell whether or not you have been watching this and how your body's responding to what you're putting in it.
Well, that was my question, is how do I know I'm allergic to foods? I mean, is it like if I break out or something, does it have to be that extreme?
It doesn't have to be that extreme. I have lots of patients, particularly patients that seem to be gluten intolerant, whose symptoms aren't manifested by runny nose or watery eyes or coughing, but they may have a lot of aches and pains in their body. They may have upset stomachs. They may have diarrhea. Not that everybody's gluten intolerant, but in our cave person example, we certainly didn't have the capacity to take that raw grain and to be able to process it and then put it into a flour and bake it in the oven. So it's not the natural form of foods that your body was actually designed for. So I tell people to really watch those things anyway. It seems to really be hard for a lot of people to digest, and I just truly don't believe that our systems were made to digest those different kinds of carbohydrates that are very complex. The food pyramid that they give us really isn't the most healthy approach, and they're actually rethinking some of that to some degree. But by and large, I tell people just think about what's natural, think about what God put here on the earth for us to consume, and anything that man's hands have touched before it comes off of the vine or the bush or the tree or whatever probably isn't in your best interest of something you want to eat, particularly every day or multiple times per day every day. Okay, those are the things that over time will really, really deteriorate and diminish your body's effects to heal. Okay. So that's all about that. Oh, and sweeteners. There's a list of sweeteners on one of those pages. If you like something sweet in your herbal tea, on this you can also have coffee if your adrenals aren't involved. And I would tell you if I didn't want you to have any kind of caffeine after we go through our little test. This is a list of things that you can have, you can't have. We don't want you to have anything that has aspartame, NutraSweet in it. Those are things that have been proven to be neurotoxins. And we certainly don't want to make your body toxic in its neurology when we're trying to make it behave more appropriately and to support you in a better way. There's a product called Just Like Sugar that's legal on here. I know you can find it at Whole Foods. Actually, one of my friends in Las Vegas actually developed that product, and it's really a good product. Personally, I like a product called xylitol or erythritol, which is a distilled sugar. Some people, it's made from a sugar alcohol, actually, but it's been distilled, and most people get along very well with that. It has a very low glycemic index, and most of the time you can use that without any repercussions on this.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
No.
Okay.
I think it's a lot to take in, but, you know, other than the fact of a couple of weeks, I can do a couple of weeks.
Most anybody can do a couple of weeks. That's why I always reemphasize this is not for the rest of your life.
Right,
Okay,
absolutely, sure.
This is just for a short period of time, and we're just letting your body rest a little bit and kind of get straightened out, and then we'll have some extra energy to move on to the next phase of what you're healing with. And you mentioned allergies. This is kind of one of the foundations of what we use here within the clinic to be able to know that our allergy programs are going to be effective. Okay, and we have 3 different allergy elimination, neurological stress reduction therapies, if you will. That's the buzzword that they call these kind of different systems that we use, all electrodermographic in nature, so that they actually measure skin resistance and your responses to the frequencies of different things that's in our environment. It's a really interesting process. So if you want to pursue any of those allergies after we have you go through the sugar control diet, we can talk about that. It may be that just doing the sugar control diet will clean up whatever you're concerned about as well.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, enjoy and call the office if you have any questions.
I will. Thanks.
You're welcome.